tutorial I'm going to show you how to crochet the corded ridge. Very similar to rib stitch with the effect that you get, where you get a much more prominent stitch. It's made up of a combination of reverse double crochet in UK, that's reverse single crochet in US, and treble stitches or double crochet US stitches. Works up quite quickly because of the treble stitches, although it is slightly slower when you're working back down the reverse rows because it's a slightly trickier stitch to work. But you do get this lovely textured fabric, and on the reverse side it is nice and smooth. So if you're wanting to use this for garments, for handbags, for scarves, this would be a really nice stitch to use. You could also do the return row in a different colour to really make that pop. Lots of opportunities to add your own flair to this stitch. So let's have a look at the tutorial. So for this tutorial I'm using a DK yarn and a 4mm crochet hook. You can use any weight yarn with the corresponding size crochet hook. I have a needle to sew in my end, scissors to cut off my ends, and a stitch marker just in case I need one. So we're going to start off by making a foundation row. So make a slip knot. You can do this in whichever way you prefer. And our foundation row is not made in multiples, it's any number of chains you want to get the width of the project you would like to make. Then at the end we're going to add one extra for our turning chain. So to do that we yarn over and pull through, that's one chain, yarn over, pull through 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So pause the video now whilst you make your foundation chain in the width you would like your project to be, and I shall see you in a moment. So I've made my chain 20 stitches for my sample piece. That's the width I would like, and now I'm going to add one extra chain as my turning chain. So to start row 1 then we're going to be working into the third chain from the hook, so we don't count the one on the hook. 1, 2, 3, and in there we're going in with a treble. That is UK terms, that would be a double in US terms. So into the third chain we yarn over, insert into the chain, yarn over and pull through. Just have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Into the next chain we're going to do another treble. So insert, yarn over, pull through, yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2. Now these turning chains at the beginning are also going to count as a stitch, so just need to remember that. And we're going to put one treble in each of the chains all the way down the row. Remember that's double crochet if you're working in US, trebles if you're working in UK terms. So pause the video now whilst you put a treble into each of the chains, and I shall see you at the end of the row. So I finished row 1, and including the turning chains here I have 20 trebles. Worth checking to make sure you have the right number of trebles as you're going through the piece, because it's easy on the next stage to lose a stitch. So for row 2 then we're going to be doing reverse double crochet. So we're going to chain 1, and we're not going to turn our work. We're going to be working into the front loops only all the way back down the row with the reverse double crochet, sometimes known as the crab stitch. If you're in the US that would be the reverse single crochet. So you might find it easier to turn your work so you can see the tops of the stitches where you have your V's, and we're just going through the front part of the V, not the back part. Now this can be really tricky, the first one, so I'm going to do it slowly. So insert your hook into the front loop only of the stitch, yarn over, pull through, and pull through just the first loop, not the second loop. Then yarn over and pull through both of the loops on your hook. Let me show you that again. The second one should be easier. So I'm going to insert into the stitch, yarn over, pull through just the first loop, so you should have 2 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through the 2. Insert into the third one, yarn over, pull through just the first loop, then yarn over and pull through both of those loops, making sure you're not going into those back loops. So into the first loop, yarn over, pull through the first one, yarn over, pull through both of them. Let me just show you one more. So insert, yarn over, oops, let me show you properly this time. Right, insert into the front loop only, yarn over and pull through the first loop only, so have 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through both of those loops. Now the reason we're working into the front loops is we're going to be using the back loops for the next row. So work your way down the row now, making sure you don't skip any of those stitches, doing your reverse double crochet or crab stitch into each stitch all the way down the row, and I shall see you at the end of the row. So pause the video now. So it's worth checking now that you haven't missed any of your stitches. So I had 20 trebles including the turning chain. I've just checked and I have 20 reverse double crochets on my next row. So just to finish off this row then, we're just going to flip our work over and we're going to do a slip stitch into the turning chain just so that our row is nicely finished off. For row 3 then we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and row 3 counts as a treble. We're now going to be working into the back loops that we'd skipped on the previous row. So these stitches here, so they're the tops of the trebles from row 1, and we worked into the front loops with our reverse double crochet, and we now have back loops that we can work into. And we're going to go into each of those, so into the very first one there with a treble, and we're essentially making row 1 again. Into the next back stitch, and if you find it easier to just pull this forward, then you can do that. It'll bounce back up as you finish your piece of work. So working into each of those back loops with a treble, and again you should have exactly the same number of trebles in this row. So pause the video now whilst you work your trebles all the way to the end, and I shall see you at the end of the row. So that's row 3 complete, and rows 2 and 3 are the repeated pattern throughout the whole piece. So we now go back to row 2, and for row 2 we're going to chain 1, and then we're going to start our row of reverse double crochets all the way back down the row, remembering we're only working into the front loops only of those stitches, and that those first couple of ones can be tricky, but once you get into the swing of it they're not too bad. So I'm going to work up a few more rows now for you to see how the pattern looks, and I shall see you in a moment. So I've just worked up a few more rows for you to see how it looks, and you do really get a nice texture on this fabric. I could see it looking nice on hems and cuffs as an alternative to just doing normal ribbing. I can really see that working. It can be a little bit tricky trying to do that reverse double crochet. Once you get the hang of it, it's really good. Definitely worth making sure that you count your stitches. It's easy to add extra stitches. If you want to put stitch markers in at the beginning and ends of your rows, then that's not a bad idea as well. Obviously it's flat on the back because we're just working on the right side each time. Yeah, it's just a really nice, interesting stitch to work on. If you've enjoyed this tutorial, please give it a thumbs up. It really does help YouTube to show it to other crocheters. If you enjoyed seeing my stitch marker today, this is my nice resin cookie stitch marker, which is available in my website shop and also on Etsy. I'll pop a link in the descriptions below for you to have a look at both of those sites. If you haven't subscribed already, please do. It is free to do so. You can unsubscribe at any time you like. I like to post videos once a week showing you different stitches and techniques to help you on your crochet journey. You can click the little symbol in the corner down here, or on the end screen there'll be a little picture of my face you can click on and you can subscribe from there. I shall pop 2 more videos on the side of the screen over here to help you on your crochet journey, and I shall see you over there. Thank you so much for joining me on this one, and happy hooking!